Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you very much for finding it here. This is a battle report. I've been out of town for a few weeks, so first game I got to play in a little bit, which is awesome. It's one of the last few weeks of our summer campaign. It's a 2,000 point battle at this point. I've added in a few new units that I'm playing with, and we rolled Battle for the Pass for this game. It's DoC versus High Elves. I attacked a territory, kind of wanted to see what fate would bring me, and I got a Banner of the World Dragon High Elf list to play with. So I'm just smiling ear to ear at this point because it's a cool challenge, and you're gonna have to fight this sometime as a demon player. So looking at my army list, I've got my Keeper of Secrets. I intended for the Greater Lesser to be Whip and Always Strikes First. Ended up with 2-up armor and Always Strikes First. Rolled it, just kind of took it for the survivability, see what it felt like. Just thought I was fighting elves, might see some arrows. And I spend a good amount of this game thinking about all those cool things I could have done with a whip. So I'll point those out as they go along, but I don't feel awful for the choice. Going into the hero choices, we're looking at the Herald of Tzeentch. It's a level 2 Tzeentch. I'm just trying to get Gateway somewhere in this army, so it's there. He's riding a disc, and I gave him the Wand of Whimsy. Thought he might be a neat late-stage game. We'll see what I do with him. Getting into the core, I took 15-pack of Horrors with Musician and Standard, and the Banner of Reroll, the first failed test for 5 points just to fill it out. 10-pack with a Banner and a Musician, and a 10-pack with nothing. Just minimum core exactly, 5 chances of getting the Tzeentch spells. Looking at the special section, I took a 3-pack and 2 single beasts. I took the Screamers for the maneuverability and fun, and on the rare side I got 2 Skull Cannons and the Burning Chariot. Dropped the Exalteds from last go round. They were a little bit too slow for what I wanted to do with the Keeper on the table. So, Demon Magic worked out about as good as I could have hoped. Got Glean Magic and Gateway on my Herald First Bowl. Swapped down to the Blue Fire on the Herald, and then on the remaining packs I rolled the big pack first and just happened to roll Gateway for realsies. So, got to default to Blue Fire on the remaining 2 10-packs. I was real happy with this spell loadout. And here's a kind of blurry picture, sorry about that, picture of demon deployment, so I won't linger. Cannons, Keeper, and the single beast off on the left, Horror pack in the back, 3 beasts going up the middle, another single beast on the right, and a Screamer pack and the Herald over on the right to try to cause some havoc. And here's the High Elf list that I am up against. My opponent was a really good guy. We had a really good game. He has been an avid 40k player, as far as I understand, and is relatively new to fantasy, but has whipped a really nice-looking army into shape in a really short amount of time, and is playing some really fun builds, so I was really excited to play him. His list, as we're looking at it, I'll kind of go through it as I pointed out. Off to the left there, that is 5 Silver Helms. They have full command. Up on the hill is a Frost Phoenix. Down at the bottom of the hill, that is his Lion Chariot. Middle is a pack of 10 Dragon Princes. They do have the Banner of the World Dragon. And a neat trick I haven't really seen before, a champion with a Star Lance and Enchanted Shield, like a nasty little challenge bait critter. Inside there also, the Death Star is his level 4 Archmage, high. He's got the Book of Hoeth and some stuff. And then the Noble is a 1-up armor. He's the BSB, rocking a halberd, and he's in that mix as well. Then on the right-hand side, he has the Fire Phoenix, 10-pack of Silver Helms full command, kind of hiding behind him there, and the primed models on the far right are Reavers. That pen right there is where the Reavers actually vanguarded to. I just didn't get a good picture of it. And we roll for first turn, and High Elves got it. So let's get this Battle for the Pass underway. All of the terrain that you see or saw is just normal terrain. We rolled a random number, took turns placing it, but for speed of game and everything else, we just kind of called everything mundane and grabbed some stuff off the shelves. So let's begin. And Elves have the initiative, top of 1. He throws his Phoenixes pretty close to right in my face, kind of daring me to hit him with them. And if not, he'll just fly over me and beat me up. The cavalry, they're cautious enough, to not get too many easy charges off on them, but they're going to be able to get to where they want to go more than likely very soon, and his fast cav get off in my flank. So here's an overview picture of the bottom of top of 1, where the elves kind of look what I'm dealing with by the time it gets to my turn. We're going to be moving on to the magic phase, where we rolled a 5 and a 1 in magic. Demons channeled 1, so it ended up being 6v6. And High Elves line up their High Wizard, and he begins going through his high magic spells. Tempest gets off on the cannon, does nothing. Walk Between Worlds on that chariot moves up to about the house. 3 weapon skill, Hand of Glory on one of the close combat units, and then Soul Quench, which I dispelled. And then in the shooting phase, he shot his Reavers at my Herald, trying to plink a wound or 2 off, and just didn't get anything through. And that brings us to the bottom of 1, Demon turn. Worth mentioning, I forgot in the magic phase, but I also got the signature spell of Shadow on the Keeper, so that'll come into play somewhere in the mix here. So, bottom of 1, Demon movement. Decide that I want to put those birds on lockdown. I can't have them floating around if I can't magic or gun them down in 1 turn. The Frost Phoenix isn't giving me a very good shot. And broadly speaking, I have to get points where I can and stop that Death Star in the middle. So I start declaring charges. The 3-pack of beasts I decide to throw into the Fire Phoenix. Want those beasts in the middle, and I think I can take it. And on this side, I throw the single beast at the Frost Phoenix just to lock it down for a turn, and I throw the Chariot and the Keeper into that 5-pack of Silver Helms. Resolving the charges, the Keeper makes it in, the Burning Chariot does not. The Beast is able to plug that Frost Phoenix in the house hiding there, and the 3-pack easily gets into the Fire Phoenix, who is waiting to strip regen. Remaining movement sub-phase, with a lot of this side yet to deal with. I just kind of run everyone up. Beast runs up, and the Screamers actually wind up and just get a great slasher attack roll when they fly over those fast cav and just chop them to pieces. The cannons over here get in line to start taking care of that chariot. And I move my Herald back to start shooting magic at the big brick of horses and just generally pestering them. So that brings us to the end of Demon movement. Demon Magic is a 5, which is the Tzeentch Fireball in the Winds of Magic. Doesn't affect any of my Nurgle troops, and it does affect the Death Star. Dead hit and actually takes 2 models off the back, which is cool. I toss a single dice just to draw some spells out at this blue fire on the chariot, and rolled like 6 strength 5 hits, so smoked it in just 1 turn. After that display, my opponent decides to dispel my next blue fire on his Silver Helms, and he stops miasma. I don't even remember where I put it, probably on the Fire Eagle in the middle. My cannons, left without a chariot to shoot, aim for the Silver Helms way across the board there, and we are actually managed to take 2 models off the back of those Silver Helms from cannon fire, so I'll take it. On to close combat. The Keeper does kill 3 Silver Helms in that exchange. They flee, and he chooses to reform. Not really sure on this decision, but just having fought a lot of Frost Phoenixes, decided I wanted to stay back there and see what that fight looked like. Let the 2 elves run for a little bit. The Roadblock Beast doesn't do anything to the Eagle, and after combat res has 2 wounds on his 4. And the fight in the middle, the Beasts actually do a couple of wounds to the Bird, and the Bird whiffs his attacks on the Beast, so happy with this little fight. And that's all the close combat. So, top of 2 High Elves. High Elf movement, the Dragon Prince Death Star decides to join the Beast fight fun, and the Silver Helms jump into the single Beast on the other side of the board. Elf Magic is 9 to 7 after channels. He first throws a Tempest on one of my Horror packs with 3 dice, and actually rolls a miscast. So this results in 4 dead pink horrors from me, but his wizard goes down the hole. I think takes a knight with him as well, so not awesome. It does, however, fit with my general strategy of dealing with a Banner of the World Dragon Cav Star, which is tied up and get lucky, so that's working out at least. There's no shooting left alive, so on to close combat. These guys actually fail their fear test against the Beast, which is nice because it allows me to stick in this combat with only 2 wounds, take a couple horses with me, and this kind of corrects. That luck there corrects for, I think, some bad positioning on my part. I was about to give him my Screamers as well. Big fight in the middle. He issues a challenge with his Starlance champion, which I like. It saves me the trouble. I accept with the Beast touching that unit. I'm just hoping that they play patty cake for a while and tie up that unit as long as I can. After we resolve everyone else's combat reses and attacks, turns out that we were able to take the Fire Phoenix off the board, so take him down. We don't die in the challenge, and a couple of wounds on the Beast, but we're still alive and kicking, and I'm liking the way that this is looking for the time being. I figure this challenge can last for a bit, and then we'll just keep challenging and challenging, try to keep this thing in combat forever. And the remaining fight over here against the Frost Phoenix and Single Beast. Frost Phoenix just punks the beast into the earth, and we got this looking down my keeper's throat. Had failed to mention that those two Silver Helms rallied, and don't really like this fight, and kind of wishing at this point I'd brought that whip along. But is still the last fight in close combat, and I'm liking okay what I'm dealing with. My opponent picks up a dice and rolls it, and throws a 6 on the table, and for those of you who play Fire Phoenixes, turns out at the end of the turn, if they roll one of these guys here, they get to pick their bird back up and place him wherever they want, like out of that awful combat and behind my lines. So that brings us to the bottom of 2 demons. While his Fire Phoenix was right up next to the house, I still had enough room to fit a base in there, so got the Screamers into the flank. All 4 made it into contact, which is a fight I'm happy to take. Kill that guy again with his full complement of regenerated wounds. And over here decided that didn't really want any part of a head-on fight with that Frost Phoenix and the Keeper, so I moved the Keeper up back. Again, kind of wishing I had the whip because I could hassle those 2 knights there and move the Burning Chariot over to try to get some pot shots off on the Phoenix. Remaining move sub-phase, I start moving horrors around. The little remaining 3 from the 10 pack I have, I start to run up to try to get into block off the Death Star if stuff goes wrong up there. And move my Herald over to this side of the board to start magicking off that Frost Phoenix. Demon Magic ends up in 5 versus 2, and an Irresistible Force Blue Fire tears the Frost Phoenix apart, leaving me with a slightly more depleted unit of horrors that shot it off. And in shooting between the chariot and the cannons, I'm able to plunk one more guy off these Silver Helms and cause them to flee as one remaining guy needing snakes to come back into the game. And there's where he ends up as he starts fleeing off of the board. Into close combat, the Screamer pack versus the Fire Phoenix. Go large target, so I actually got some multi-wounds off. Did about 4 of his 6 wounds in this. He took a Screamer off for his trouble and reformed. And then the Patty Cake challenge through combat res got him down to just 1 beast with 2 remaining wounds. Looking over at this stalled out combat, the Silver Helms do not fail fear and allows them to easily gut the beast and reform to go down into my horrors on the south side. And here's an overview of the end of turn, which brings us to top of turn 3, High Elf movement yet again. His Silver Helm pack makes a charge, or declares a charge rather, to the 15 pack of Gateway Horrors, easily makes it in, loses a couple of guys to the dangerous terrain test through those woods, and shooting and magic are dead, so we just move on to the close combat here. The Patty Cake challenge with the Cav Star ends up beating the beast through combat res, reforms to affect the Screamer combat if that doesn't go his way. And this fight ends up with no real more wounds on the Phoenix. He's down to 2 and kills off another Screamer. This fight down here with my Gateway pack, not that many guys left alive. I'm still feeling good that I can hold for a turn, but after wounds and everything, he tears them in half. They crumble through res. The horse that I got was actually done with the 16 or so blue horror attacks that I was left with. The actual unit did nothing. So the horses reform to go hit the rest of my horrors, and that leaves us to bottom of 3 demons. Demon charge declaration, I decide to charge my cannon through this gap into the flank of the Phoenix and easily make it. Shuffle my stuff around to throw things at the Death Star and take charges in the right order. And Demon Magic is a pretty big number at 5 and 5, and nothing of consequence happens from the Demon roll table. All I'm able to get through after Dispels and Scrolls and such, or really Dispels, is the Miasma with just a 1 to everything on this Phoenix fight. I'm out of good shooting targets at the moment, so we do this close combat, and the impact hits are able to tear the Eagle off the board and overrun here. So here's what we're looking at after close combat. And that would be the end of Demon turn 3. However, he has a Phoenix, and he rolled his dice again, and rolls another 6. This time the Phoenix comes back with only 3 wounds, but I get to kill this guy a 3rd time to get those points. So go Phoenixes! On into Elf turn movement, top of turn. He charges his Phoenix into the back of the cannon, ironically. Cav Star into the Screamers, and the Silver Helms into the Horror pack. The Silverhelm combat resolves. He does kill all of the horrors and actually take a couple of the horses off, so leaves only 2 of them alive. And the remaining combats, the Phoenix doesn't kill the cannon, but I fail my combat reform, so I got a wound on me and he's hit me in the back. And the Cav Star has no problem wiping the board of the Screamers and simply reform to turn around and go out the back there. Bottom of turn demons. I shuffle my lines around, get the keeper out of the way of the Cav Star, and everyone with a gun or magic surrounds that last 2 Silverhelms. Getting on into the magic phase, I get a big miasma off on the Phoenix, and didn't get a picture of it, but shooting clears off those last 2 Silverhelms. Cannon takes a couple of wounds, puts a wound on the bird, he's down to 2, and that closes out the demon close combat. Into top of elf turn. Game at this point is starting to run a little bit long between my opponent being kind of new and trying to figure out how to deal with my army, me being relatively new to the demon army, so looking up rules, and then also flummoxing with a camera and taking notes for this battle report. The game is getting to the point where it's probably should have been over by now. The store is looking to close pretty soon, so the rest of this is going to go relatively quick and my notes get a little bit light. So the Cav Star takes this flank charge on the cannon, so we kind of can see where that's going to be going, and makes it in and really has no problem wiping the board with it. This guy from way back that the keeper took off in round 1 got almost to the edge of the board but actually rallies, so those points are currently being preserved. And no surprises in combat resolution, the Cav Star breaks the cannon and everyone turns to face the keeper. Bottom of turn 5 demons. I decide to charge my Keeper of Secrets into this Phoenix. He has 2 wounds left at this point, and I figure I should be able to knock through those, overrun, stop at the horrors, and just dance around from that Cav Star for the rest of the game. If I can collect those Silverhelm points, I should have no problem taking this game home with me. In the remaining moves, my Disc Herald shows his worth and flies across the board to go pick back up those points from that rallied dude in the back there. And everyone who's left alive shuffles around just in case. Magic sees the Herald in the back take that last Silverhelm off, so I do collect that 5-pack points, and I muscle through a big miasma on the Phoenix for this combat. So here's where it all kind of comes down to. You can see where that Cav Star is if I fail here. Roll the dice, get 3 hits. After rerolls, get 6 hits. After wound rolls, get 6 wounds. And this is what the Phoenix rolls. He has 2 wounds left. He saves 5 of them, leaving him with 1 wound and me with an exposed flank keeper with an invincible unit. So you can kind of guess where the rest of this story goes. Elf turn, he charges the Cav Star in, challenges me out with his Starlance critter, and throughout the course of the rest of the game, manages to do enough wounds to the keeper, really through combat res, to take him off the board, and that shuts down the game. Through the remaining turns of the game, this kind of seals it. This took a couple of turns of combat res to kill the keeper. When he got unlocked, I shot everything I had at the Phoenix, but wasn't able to take him off, and that kind of closed out the game. So at the end of it all, the High Elves do pull it out. Win by a couple hundred points. That keeper swing really was where it held in the balance. I could have pulled out a marginal victory had I blown through that eagle as I intended. But yeah, it was a really good game with my opponent. I had a good time, and hindsight on the list and on the play, I can see a couple of mistakes I made. Had a couple of bad positioning errors in the beginning. Was able to muscle through those, but at the end of the day, just dice didn't cooperate in the big fight. Had I taken the lash of Slaanesh like I had originally intended, I think I would have had a bit more flexibility in that Phoenix fight. Wouldn't have had to charge in and expose myself. I could have danced around a little bit and try to plink wounds off with all of my shooting. List proper, things I liked. I liked that Flying Disc Zinch Herald. He did his job exactly. The Wand of Whimsy got up to 2 charges by the end of the game, so I kind of figured that late stage, if I needed some infantry blocks killed or something, if I got him up to 5-6 attacks at good strength, I could tear him into the back or flank of some non-elite infantry or something, but that just never worked out. But his mobility did come through in the ability to correct that rally at the end of the game, so I'll keep him around for a bit. And yeah, just as I'm learning my demons, it's a really fun army to play. This was a neat challenge to be able to see, and as whenever I review games, I don't know if anyone else has this, but if I ever just get stomped and I don't see a way I could have won or pulled out the game, that's kind of hobby ruining, disheartening. This wasn't one of those games. This was one of those games where I knew it was a challenge going in. I think I played it okay, certainly not perfectly, but okay, and I can see a couple of things that could have gone a little bit differently and pulled this game out. So I love those kind of games where I can identify mistakes and learn from them. So kudos to my opponent for giving me a great game. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning into the channel, listening to me babble on for 20 minutes or so on a game I played, and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments on the battle report or my list or any of this other stuff, please leave comments. I really do appreciate the encouragement, and I appreciate it. Good gaming to everyone, and have a great one. Cheers.